streaming live across the country, tackling the topics everyone is talking about online. Share, engage, and interact. This is Newsfeed Now.
Hey everyone, we have finally made it to this Finally Friday, October 16th. So glad to have you with us here on Newsfeed Now. I'm Suzanne Bruner. We've got a lot of things that we're seeing online that is trending right now. That includes an update to a shooting in Denver, Colorado. Here's what we know about this case. The security guard who shot and killed a protester last week was charged with murder. If convicted, this charge carries a mandatory prison sentence of between 16 and 48 years. Alex Rose breaks down the case.
5 days after the deadly shooting of Lee Keltner at dueling political rallies in downtown Denver, a 9 News security guard, Matthew Doloff, has been charged with second-degree murder. The key question, was the shooting premeditated? Earlier this week, 9 News released video of what led up to the encounter. You can see Keltner pull his mask up and start engaging with Doloff.
You keep your cameras out of here, I'm gonna you up.
Witnesses and multiple pictures and video show Keltner sprayed pepper spray and Doloff fired within a second.
I'm not surprised by this decision to charge second-degree murder in this case. This will be a case where the defendant will assert self-defense, and there's certainly no evidence that there was ongoing malice or any pre-preparation behind this killing.
Under Colorado law, first-degree murder requires proof of premeditation and deliberation.
They didn't really they were standing maybe 3-4 feet apart. Neither group seemed to acknowledge each other, so I don't think there was any issue.
The problem solver's getting this video Thursday. Freelance photographer Benjamin Kyle capturing an encounter 15 minutes before the shooting, where you can see Keltner and the 9 News crew right next to each other. He says Keltner approached him earlier in the day, not too happy about being filmed.
He thought I was filming him specifically, which is when he began to follow me through the park, yelling at me, you're not allowed to film me, you delete that, etc., etc.
Right now, we'd like to bring in Drew Engelbart from Denver. He's been following the story as well. Drew, glad to have you here on Newsfeed Now. It looks like, based on the story, there's quite a bit of video, quite a bit of picture evidence that authorities can work with here. Will any of that help prove that this shooting was premeditated or deliberate? Also, is there anything else that they're doing to prove that key question?
Yeah, well, I think the district attorney, as you guys heard, they decided to go ahead and charge Matthew Doloff with second-degree murder. So in that case, I think the district attorney has decided there was no premeditation when it comes to the killing that happened over the weekend here in Denver at this dueling protest. But as you mentioned, the video certainly helps, and the district attorney was reviewing a lot of video. You're talking about different news organizations that were there, as well as halo cameras that are in that area, a lot of cameras in that area of downtown Denver. So I think that's why we didn't hear about a decision. It happened, of course, on Saturday until just yesterday is when we heard what the district attorney decided to charge Matthew Doloff with. They were reviewing all of that evidence, and they will continue to do so, but we do know at this point that he has been charged with second-degree murder.
Drew, let's talk about that for a second. It's so interesting this day and age, technology. The pictures, the video that we're starting to see surrounding any kinds of cases like this one, how important is this when it comes to these cases? And also, are we starting to see authorities get to a conclusion faster than normal, than some of these cases normally take?
Yeah, I think you see that in a lot of cases, and especially recently with the protests that we've seen around the country. There was another case here in the Denver metro area that they used cameras from highways when it came to a Jeep that drove through a crowd of protesters, and that goes back to the technology that they have, not just in Denver, but really around the country when it comes to cameras on highways, cameras in populated areas like downtown Denver, near the state capitol, and then certainly when you have these dueling protests, there was a lot of media out there covering when it comes to newspapers, folks that just have blogs that they have on the internet. We've received video from some of those people as well that were closer to this interaction when it happened. So when you talk about technology and just the amount of coverage that we see on these protests, on events like this, and it does give prosecutors and district attorneys a lot of evidence when it comes to cases like this. And once again, I think it goes back to the first degree, second degree murder charges. What's the difference? A lot of talk about that here in Denver this morning, as well as yesterday. First degree murder, of course, comes with premeditated murder charges, and the district attorney deciding in this case it was not premeditated. It wasn't something that maybe, a suspect would go home and think about before coming back and, murdering someone at that point, killing someone at that point. So they decided it was just a spur of the moment murder charge, and that's why they charged Matthew Doloff with second-degree murder at this point.
Real quick, sometimes when the news first breaks about these certain stories, they'll come out with one video. When people start to hear about it, they say, oh, I was there, I saw this, and this happened. In this scenario, were they receiving pictures and video evidence from random people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the more witnesses, the better, really, with any case. And I think any district attorney, any lawyer, if you're, defending someone who committed a crime, would tell you the same thing. And it goes for the same for us here in the media. We're trying to get this story from as many different angles as we can. And it seems like every day we hear from someone new that have a different angle of the video, different pictures that we haven't seen before, or just witness testimony. What did you see? What did you hear? Because certainly that's important when it comes to the case, but that's important for us as well, because we want to know what happened here. We want to try to tell the story as best we can.
Absolutely. Drew, you bring up a good point. We've got to make sure that we get all sides to it and present it effectively. Thanks so much for your time. Again, Drew joining us from Denver, Colorado with that story. Turning now to some new information here. So former New Jersey Governor Christie is talking about his recent bout with the coronavirus. He spent 7 days in intensive care. He was one of a number of people with ties to the White House who tested positive for the coronavirus at around the same time as President Donald Trump. Christie says he was wrong not to wear a mask during recent visits to the White House, including debate preps and the nomination ceremony for Supreme Court Justice nominee Amy Coney Barrett. Christie says he has recovered from his illness, and he also thanked his doctors. On Capitol Hill, the committee hearings for Judge Amy Coney Barrett end with her confirmation to the nation's highest court, all but certain. Now, the full Senate is still on track to give Barrett's nomination the final approval just days before the election. Washington correspondent Jesse Tenor reports on a last-ditch effort to delay the vote.
I believe Americans of all backgrounds deserve an independent Supreme Court.
After Judge Amy Coney Barrett made her case to the Senate Judiciary Committee, Democrats tried to delay her confirmation.
To indefinitely postpone the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett?
No, we're not.
Despite Chairman Lindsey Graham's objections, Connecticut Democrat Richard Blumenthal pushed forward.
We do grave damage to the Supreme Court by politicizing it in this way.
But Louisiana Republican John Kennedy argued the committee has an obligation to confirm President Trump's nominee.
The Constitution's unaffected by the electoral calendar when it deals with filling a Supreme Court nomination.
The Democrats' attempt failed, and Republicans scheduled a final committee vote on Barrett's nomination next week.
I don't think she has any conflict at all.
In dueling town halls Thursday night, President Trump and Joe Biden addressed Barrett's all but certain confirmation. Biden was asked about court packing in a town hall moderated by ABC News' George Stephanopoulos.
If they vote out before the election, you are open to expanding the court?
I'm open to considering what happens from that point on.
In a town hall with NBC News, President Trump was asked if he expects Barrett to rule in his favor if the election is contested.
It would be totally up to her. I would think that she would be able to rule either for me or against me.
In Washington, I'm Jesse Tenor.
And now a new book to tell you about. This is on the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's going to come out here very soon. The University of California Press says it will publish some previously unreleased materials from the late Supreme Court Justice. The book is titled Justice Thou Shalt Pursue, A Life's Work Fighting for a More Perfect Union. It's going to be released in March. The book was in production when Ginsburg died last month at the age of 87 and includes manuscripts compiled by one of her former clerks. Memphis police, they are circulating a video of two masked armed men who identified themselves as fugitive agents before forcing their way into an apartment. But police say these agents were fake. Peter Fleischer has the story.
5 days after the deadly shooting of Lee Keltner at dueling political rallies in downtown Denver, a 9 News security guard, Matthew Doloff, has been charged with second-degree murder. The key question, was the shooting premeditated?
Can you tell me
Earlier this week, 9 News released video of what led up to the encounter. You can see Keltner.
I'm sorry, guys. It looks like we are rerunning our first story in Newsfeed Now. We're going to try to get this brand new story for you again about a Memphis police, the Memphis Police Department that is circulating some video. We'll get to that here soon, hopefully. But let's move on to our next story. There's some pretty intense video to show you of a man who climbed several stories of the New York Times building. Take a look at this. The guy sitting on a beam on the side of the building. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Witnesses say the man stayed there for about 45 minutes. And look at all these officers just kind of waiting around to see what is he going to do? What's his next move? But witnesses say the man stayed there again for about 45 minutes. He then climbed through a window that police had cut out. He eventually was taken into custody. We don't know why he climbed that building or what charges he's going to face, but interesting things there happening in New York City. But here is a feel-good story about lending a helping hand during tough times. Look at this. Earlier this week, a Florida man suffered a medical emergency while working in his yard. Well, firefighters not only came to his rescue, but they finished cutting the grass. There you see a firefighter right there using a push mower, and then another one is actually using a weed whacker to trim the area near the driveway as well. So just a nice thing to see out there. All of this happened after the firefighters treated the 80-year-old man who is suffering from heat exhaustion. We're happy to say the man is doing well today, and of course, look at his yard. It's looking good as well. So great work to the fire crew for stepping up to help. These are just great things that we'd like to see in our communities for sure. Well, there's a 91-year-old man in Texas who he's done a lot of things in his lifetime, but he recently checked off one thing he's wanted to do for nearly 60 years, vote in a presidential election. Mercedes Hernandez has more on why it took so long and why now.
I wanted to be counted.
For 91-and-a-half-year-old Humberto de la Vega, the first day of early voting brought in a very big first for him.
I went to my son's business. Him and I walked from his business down to the courthouse. We just stood over there with everybody else.
De la Vega voted in the presidential election for the first time Tuesday, something only possible after becoming an American citizen just last year.
I had my opinions and all that, but I couldn't vote.
And finally getting to put those opinions to paper was a pretty good feeling, says De la Vega.
I know I felt good. It felt a warm feeling. I don't know whether everybody feels that way or not. Maybe they've done it so often they don't think about it. But for me, it was a good experience.
The 91-year-old got his ballot in before his wife Georgia did this election cycle.
Do you yourself vote?
I do, but I haven't yet.
Although she didn't seem to mind, as this year marked a big milestone for her husband.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm proud of him.
When asked how he picked his candidates, De La Vega says he went with his heart.
I don't want to change it, except for the good.
And chose whoever thought could make a better future for his family.
My 4 kids, I owe it to them and my grandkids and great-grandkids.
This first-time voter asks anyone running for office this year or in the years to come to do what he did before going to the polls and look inward.
To ask themselves, am I going to make a difference or am I going to add to the problem?
In Abilene, with coverage you can count on.
It's a privilege.
Mercedes Hernandez, KTAB News.
Oh, I love seeing him sport that sticker right there. Congratulations to De La Vega. What an accomplishment right there. Let's talk to Joni McKinnon from Abilene, Texas right now. She has more on this story. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us here on Newsfeed Now. I'm curious, did the election motivate him to become a citizen so he could vote this time around?
You know, I think it really did, Suzanne. He talked about he's only been a citizen now for a year, and at 91 years old, he's missed out on just a few elections. His wife, Georgia, she's been voting for a long time, but he said this year he just felt really compelled that he wanted to be counted. So when he went to get citizenship, you know, it's a process to go through at 90 years old, and now he is. He cast his ballot and did so before his wife, but he said he really felt like he owed it to his sons and his grandkids to do this and to really, you know, be heard and be counted.
Why did he put it off for so long?
You know,
I know things happen, you know.
Sure. Life gets away from you, especially in times like this.
Right.
He has worked for his sons in a printing capacity in a printing company here in Abilene, and it just, he didn't have I guess the desire at any time prior, but with the way things are now, with the state of the world as it is, he said, I felt like he could make a difference, and he felt like he just looked inward, like you said, you heard him on the video saying that this was just something that was kind of a spiritual movement that made him want to actually do it for the first time.
Yeah, and I think the story will inspire others to get out and vote as well. I loved his reaction as to how he described how it was like after voting. I think a lot of people can agree with him. There's just something that's so fulfilling, and you're making a difference. But what's interesting is he's voting during a really interesting time. We're in a pandemic and it's going to look different. So did he talk about his experience voting during the pandemic and maybe what it looked like?
Well, he did receive his ballot by mail, and he got his ballot before his wife did, and then he took it and dropped it off at our local election center and turned it in that way. And at 91, health is a concern for him. But I think that you're right about that, Suzanne. A lot of people feel like it's very empowering that suddenly you have some control over something. And right now, so many people, I think, are struggling to find any control with so many restrictions on our lives.
For sure. Joni, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for talking to us a little more about his story. Such a positive, great story to have here on Newsfeed Now. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys, we have this story back in our newscast here. So Memphis police, they're circulating a video of two masked armed men who identified themselves as fugitive agents before forcing their way into an apartment. But police say these agents were fake. Peter Fleischer has that story.
These two men, wearing clothes and holding guns that made them look like law enforcement officers, showed up to the Emerald Park Apartments in Hickory Hill late Monday night, banging on a resident's door.
Fugitive Squad!
You can hear them yell, "Fugitive Squad," except they aren't. Memphis police and the Shelby County Sheriff's Office says they aren't real officers at all. They eventually forced their way into a residence, but were chased off when someone inside started firing a gun of their own. After this potentially deadly situation, residents wondering what are they supposed to do if they can use a doorbell cam to see and hear who's there, but still don't know exactly who is knocking just right outside their door.
I would actually open the door thinking that it was the police officers to see what they wanted. That's very scary.
He had no reason to even have a weapon exposed. That would be my first clue. It's real scary.
And it had to be scary for the people who live here. At this point, it's unclear if their home was chosen randomly or specifically targeted. Real law enforcement still looking for both suspects involved, both men being described as 5 feet 10 inches tall with thin builds. Residents are hoping the manhunt doesn't last long.
They need to be fined if they're going around doing stuff like that, because that's not something that you do.
Reporting in Memphis for Newsfeed Now, I'm Peter Fleischer.
Yeah, so if you live in the Memphis area or if you know anything about this, definitely give authorities a phone call about that. They'd like to catch these guys. All right, so before we go on this finally Friday, we've got this awesome story for you. Okay, a happily ever after featuring former NBA star Dwyane Wade. So get this, Ryan Bosch was down on one knee proposing to his girlfriend on Rosewood Miramar Beach in Southern California when Dwyane Wade, he photobombed the proposal. You can find these pics on Instagram as well, but we're showing it to you right here on Newsfeed Now. It shows Wade taking a sunset stroll. You just saw him put his hand on his heart in awe when he realized what was happening. Then look, he decided to join the couple on their photo shoot. So Wade also wrote on their Instagram post congratulating them and just said he hopes that this marriage lasts. He wants it to last. So just an honor for him to witness what he did. But talk about a slam dunk ending to a fairy tale love story. Gotta love that. It's not every day you see an NBA star just strolling around and right next to your proposal. So congratulations to that couple. That's our show. We'll see you back here on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe.